Am I the wrong one for telling my fiancée we should call the wedding off if she doesn't approve of my female best man? Throwaway cause I don't want people seeing my personal crap on my main account. So, I, 28, proposed to my girlfriend Jasmine, 24, in March. Earlier this week she and I were talking about wedding plans and she already picked out who her bridesmaids were gonna be and was questioning me about my groomsmen to see who'd walk with who and all that. I told her who I wanted and let her know that my best man was actually going to be my friend Kate, 27, Jasmine kind of freaked and was really adamant about her not being the BM. I asked her why and she listed off a lot of reasons, none of which I believe. She said it'll look weird in the photos, it'll be weird when Kate has to walk down the aisle with her maid of honor, that she doesn't want Kate to be distracting to guests, that Kate's too short, WTF, to stand next to a bunch of 6 feet plus guys. The reasons were ridiculous, and I told her as much. She told me I should respect her wishes for the wedding and gave me suggestions for other BMs. I know the real reason might be jealousy, but I don't want to just drop it and go along with her insecurities. We ended up getting into a big argument. Jess was upset that I wasn't budging on my stance and I was mad she was acting so irrational. She was being really accusatory about why I wanted Kate in the wedding so bad. I finally told her if she doesn't want to let me have this one thing maybe there shouldn't be a wedding at all. She got really angry and told me to just leave our apartment. I've been couch surfing at a friend's for the past couple days, not Kate. Last time I tried to talk to Jess she asked if I was ready to apologize and I said no, cause I don't want her to think she was right about forbidding me from letting Kate be in the wedding. And before anyone asks, no, Kate and I have never been sexual or romantic. She's been one of my closest friends and introduced me to my current social circle. I used to be an awkward nerdy guy who had trouble making friends. Now I'm an awkward nerdy guy with a social life. We survived grad school together and she's been with me through high and low parts of life and it seems insane to not include her in my wedding. Jess and Kate know each other, but aren't friends, and over time Jess got used to me having a close female friend without being jealous/mistrusting, or so I thought. AITA, edit. I should mention, Jasmine has never acted this way before and is usually pretty easygoing and understanding. And she didn't so much as kick me out as she said well maybe you should just go then and I called her bluff and left. She tried to get me to come back, and also apologize, but we're both hard-headed when it comes to what we want. I don't want to call off the wedding and I get why Jess was upset by me saying we should, but I wanted her to know how serious I was. Edit 2. No idea if anyone will read this. I didn't want to make a whole update post since it's only been a day, but anyways. I went back home today after cooling off and Jess and I had a long talk and I'm not going into the details. TLDR we're not calling off the wedding, but we're gonna talk about this more and try to come up with a mutual solution. No idea what that is yet. And just to address a few things I've seen a lot of. No, Kate is not single. Jess and Kate are friendly, but they aren't friends. I'm not very close to any of Jace's friends either. Kate and I have known each other for almost 7 years. I've been with Jess for 2. I am not attracted to Kate and we're not going to run off into the sunset together. Stop watching bad rom-coms. It's 2020. I can be friends with a woman without wanting to sleep with her. I'm not choosing another woman over Jess. If Kate were a man and Jess didn't want him in the wedding, I'd have a right to be pissed. But since Kate's a woman suddenly I don't love my fiancé enough? That's bullcrap. Oh and if you've implied I'm gonna have an affair/already cheated? F off. Not the wrong one. This wedding is just as much your day as it is hers, and you absolutely deserve to have someone up there that you trust as your best woe/man. Your fiancé needs to not only recognize that, but figure out whatever insecurity is causing her to lash out in this manner. Not the wrong one. My best man was a woman. She's outlasted all my relationships since I was 15. I got married in my mid-40s. Anyone that doesn't let you pick the representative of your choice for one of the most important moments of your life, it is your wedding too, may not possibly be good to marry. Edit. Bad grammar. Update AITA for telling my fiancé we should call of the wedding if she doesn't approve of my female best man. Link to original, link 1 in description. The original post has been removed and I'm not sure why. I didn't have any messages about it. The TLDR is I have a friend, Kate, and I wanted her to be my best man. My fiancé disapproved and we got into a fight about it. My fiancé and I ended up making up and reconciling a few days later. We were talking compromises and it was still a touchy subject, but I thought it was going good and we'd recover. I wish I could leave it at that. She's now my ex-fiancé. A little over 2 weeks after our fight a friend of Jess contacted me. She told me Jasmine had been venting to her friends over the Kate situation and she couldn't keep quiet any longer because it wasn't fair to me. This friend sent me messages between Jasmine and them where Jasmine is essentially talking about not trusting me and Kate and saying some pretty derogatory things about her. If that was it, I'd be angry, but not furious. Long story short, the conversation turns into some confusing conversation I didn't have much context for, but I got the gist. The friend that sent me the messages filled me in with what she knew. Basically, Jas had an affair before we got engaged. It had allegedly been just one time with some guy she doesn't talk to anymore, but I don't know what to believe. Based on the messages, it seems like that was the case. Apparently all of her friends knew about this and I was being played the whole time. I talked to Jas and she denied it, but I told her I didn't care. She needed to leave. She was throwing a fit and refused to, so I left my own home again because of her. Told her I'd tell everyone what she did if she didn't pack up her crap and go by the time I returned. It worked. 2 days later I came back and she was gone. She's tried contacting me to set things right, but I'm not interested. She can keep the ring for all I care at this point. I just don't want to see her yet. I felt so stupid and worthless and embarrassed. I didn't tell anyone the reason we broke it off. No idea what Jas is telling people, and I don't care. The past month and a half has been a nightmare, but I've been slowly recovering my pride, and I'm trying to convince myself what she did was her own fault, not mine. It works about half the time. And because I know some of you are going to ask because you think this is some lousy freaking rom-com, I didn't go running to Kate. I've hardly spoken to her or anyone else for a while now. I've been enjoying quarantine and being left alone. That's my final update on the situation. Those of you who said Jas was being paranoid because she had something to hide can go pat yourselves on the back. Sorry to hear that, man. It seems like she was totally projecting onto you and Kate BC she cheated, which happens quite a lot with cheaters. You did the right thing and will be better off for it even though it sucks RN. That sucks. And frankly you should be talking to Kate because you should be talking to your friends and getting their support, and clearly she's a really good friend, if not your best friend, so talk to her. Also, based on just this situation, 1. You're a good guy who stood by your good friend and your morals. 2. You're a good guy who tried to find compromise with your fiancé. 3. You're a good guy who trusted your fiancé and loved her as you should have. 4. You got involved with someone who turned out to be stupid and worthless and should be embarrassed for screwing you over. Don't let this experience ruin your faith in yourself. Am I the wrong one for asking my husband to check on me while playing video games? My husband is an avid computer gamer, mostly WoW-type games. Approximately 5 nights of the week, he'll play games online from the time that our son goes to bed at 8 o'clock or 8:30 to about 12:30. So at least 4 continuous hours. That in itself is not at all an issue for our relationship. He spends plenty of time with me and our son, and I have my own hobbies that he isn't interested in that I engage in when he's online. A few nights ago I was doing laundry while he was playing online, and I stepped on a toy that my son had left on the basement stairs. I fell pretty hard and dropped the basket. Luckily, because of the way my weight was shifted, I fell backwards rather than forwards, resulting in a bruise on my butt, but I was otherwise fine. The laundry basket clattered down the stairs, ricocheted off some basement furniture, shot laundry everywhere. It was a huge racket. It woke up my son. My husband, who had his headphones on, heard literally nothing. It dawned on me that if something really bad happened to me, my husband wouldn't know about it for potentially 4 hours. Like, what if I broke my leg falling down the stairs? So I asked if he would be willing, for my peace of mind, to just pop out of his office at the midpoint each night just to check on me. Like literally, just say hi and go back to gaming. He thinks this is a huge overreaction and a waste of time. I know for a fact that he isn't actively playing the entire time and he sometimes takes breaks to go to the bathroom or get a snack or whatever. So how is this different? Am I the wrong one? Not the wrong one. My SO is a gamer similar to yours, and in between games he has always came to check on me, kiss me, etc. He has always done this from when we were dating to now living together. I think it's really important, not only to check up on you, but to let you know he is thinking of you. Or maybe I have gotten used to it. Edit. I now realize why I'm being challenged with my NAH response. I thought NAH meant not the whole. Smiley face, woman shrugging. I really mean not the wrong one. Sorry. Not the wrong one. I think that's a fair compromise for him playing WoW 5 nights a week for 4 hours. Am I the wrong one for supporting my wife after my daughter publicly exposed her diary which had cruel comments? I have been remarried for a year now to my wife. I have a 15-year-old daughter and an 11-year-old son from my first marriage. I also have a 15-year-old stepdaughter. My wife has always gotten along with my children very well and has gone above and beyond to integrate our families. And although at first my daughter was very standoffish to my wife was eventually able to bond with her. Only then did we get married. A few weeks ago, my daughter found my wife's diary that she had been writing to when we went to marital counseling before we got married. Both our first marriages were terrible, so we were determined to do it right. I also was given a diary. My daughter then proceeded to read everything and even take photographs of certain pages. She then posted the photographs on Facebook and called my wife a bunch of cruel names. My wife had written a few things about how she wished I didn't have kids before we met so we could have had less issues dealing with my ex. She also said how she hated that my daughter had picked up so many bad traits from my ex. And the last thing related to my kids was that she said my ex was a terrible mother for weaponizing her kids. I admit I was taken aback and upset that my wife had written these things because I knew my kids would be hurt. But this was also a personal diary as part of a therapy exercise, and the diary had been hidden in our closet. My daughter even posted some very sensitive information about my wife dealing with her father, who was an alcoholic. My wife is inconsolable. A lot of my family and friends have turned on my wife because they think what she wrote was terrible. I disagree. She wrote things that she was concerned would affect our marriage, and the counseling actually helped us deal with having stepchildren. And it's not like I shared the same opinion about my ex. I'm just so defeated. My daughter will no longer see me if my wife is around and won't step foot in our house. My son is following her lead. My wife has already apologized several times. My ex has said she will be starting the process to reduce my custody and sue for defamation. I know she won't win the defamation case, but I feel like custody will indeed switch. I'm very stressed out. My daughter refused to take down the diary pages and insists she's in the right. I have taken my wife's side in all this. Am I the a-hole? My entire family has been blown up. Not the wrong one. Your daughter is old enough to know not to read someone's diary. I really feel for you, mate. You're in a no-win situation. Not the wrong one. This was also a personal diary as part of a therapy exercise. Sounds like the entire point of this was to vent unhealthy thoughts. Am I the wrong one for telling my fiancée that if her cousin gets married on our wedding day that they won't be welcome at our wedding? My fiancée, Nicole, and I had chosen our wedding date, booked the venue, and notified the immediate members of the family of the date and the pending save-the-date mailings. Nicole's cousin, Amber, found out that we had announced the date and called Nicole upset that we had booked a wedding on her wedding date. We were confused because Amber and her boyfriend weren't even engaged, but she and her boyfriend claimed that they knew that was the date they were getting married. They were going to do a courthouse wedding with their families, then wanted to come to our wedding. I told everyone I wasn't comfortable with that because Amber's side of the family are completely self-centered, and I didn't want them trying to take over our wedding/reception. I stood my ground and told Amber and her boyfriend that if they got married on our wedding day, they wouldn't be welcome, and I'd let the planner and venue staff that they would be turned away, and I'd be willing to hire extra staff to make sure they were refused entry. We also found out that the boyfriend lost his job, which just cements my thoughts that they're trying to get a free reception out of my and my fiancé. Nicole is upset with me because they're family, but I'm just tired of Amber and her boyfriend trying to make every situation about themselves, now including our wedding. So, am I the wrong one? Edited to fix paragraphs and no, not getting married on Halloween. Edit 2. My fiancé doesn't want to share the wedding/reception for those assuming she wants to. She just doesn't want to deal with a familial fight that will break out between her side of the family and Amber's side of the family. Her parents are paying half, I'm paying 1/4, and my parents are paying 1/4. We're not getting married on a weekday. The city Amber lives in has Saturday hours for the JP courts for weddings. They were going to do a courthouse wedding with their families, then wanted to come to our wedding. Not the wrong one at all. They are not even engaged, and you are spot on that they are after a free reception. How freaking tacky. I'd be willing to bet cash that she would turn up in her wedding dress too. Not the wrong one. Totally sounds like they are wanting a free reception, steal the spotlight, but with none of the monetary obligations. Update. Am I the wrong one for telling my fiancé that if her cousin gets married on our wedding day that they won't be welcome at our wedding? Original post, link to in description. Well everyone, a lot has happened in the last few weeks. Nicole's cousin and fiancé have announced their wedding date, 2 weeks after ours. It came down to a comment I made in front of Nicole's twin sister, Brittany. Amber had announced their engagement, and said that they were getting married in October, but no specific date. The three of us were chatting about things when Brittany brought up the announcement and mentioned how it seemed they were trying to steal the spotlight again, and I muttered about them even stealing the wedding day. Nicole had said she talked to Brittany about it, and she had, but didn't tell her they were doing it on the same day. Brittany lost her mind about it, She three-way called Amber and Amber's mom and read them the riot act. It was both glorious and extremely uncomfortable to listen to. There's a lot of stuff between those parts of the families. Brittany told them they had a week to figure out when in October they were getting married other than our wedding day, or she would tell everyone in the family what they were trying to do. Amber's mom tried to downplay it all, but Brittany wasn't having any of it. Even though she's about 5 minutes older than Nicole, she was acting like she was a much older protective sister. It was a long phone call, but in the end they figured the jig was up. A few days later they announced the date, but since Amber's fiancé lost his job, and their families can't afford a traditional wedding, they're only inviting a small portion of their original guest list, and having a Zoom wedding. Luckily, we don't get back from our honeymoon until the day after their wedding. Shucks. Wow, Brittany rocks. Nice one, Sil. I'm also glad to read that you have the brothers on standby to deal with Amber, because I'm willing to bet good money that she will try shenanigans at your wedding. She sounds tacky enough to try to purloin your photographer. Edit. Wow, who knew that using the word purloin would get so much love? D. You still need to hire a couple extra event staffers/security, because I could see them showing up with a friend that has a nice camera and using your wedding for engagement/wedding style photos. Or I could see them showing up and getting absolutely slammered and being real crapheads about the whole thing. Thank you all for listening. Have a great day. See you later.